The Health and Safety Authority are launching a Work at Height campaign starting on the 6th of October. Falls from height remain the leading source of fatal accidents and serious injuries in the construction sector. Today I'm delighted to be accompanied by Robert, who has suffered the consequences of a fall from height at work. Robert, delighted to have you here today to hear your story of the real life consequences of a fall from height. Can you tell me a little bit about your story of your accident at work?
I can, Joan. Thanks for having me. My name is Robert Bradshaw, and back in 2014, September, just gone 11 years ago now, I had an accident, a fall from height. I was a self-employed steel erector and cladding fitter. On that particular day, I went out to work that morning, as I usually do. That's been my routine to get up. I'd be 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning to go to work. And went to work that day, but I didn't get home for 6 months because of an accident.
6 months, it's a long time to be away from the home when you leave the kitchen in the morning and get up to go out to work.
Wasn't the case. I was supposed to come home that evening like I do every evening and have my dinner and go out and feed my cattle and relax, but that wasn't to be the case that day.
And who have you at home, Robert? I
have my wife Mary, and I had 3 sons at the time. I still have 3 sons.
Still have 3 sons, yeah. 3 sons at home at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happened that day then when you went to work?
It was a new job. We were starting out and I was being self-employed. I had a job finished and I was moving on to a new job.
Okay.
It consisted of a bit of demolition.
Okay.
An old building, farm building. I'll have to highlight that. That had to be demolished and a new one re-erected in its place. And as usual, I collected an employee that I had working for me in Tipperary town, and we left to go to the site, which is about 60 miles away.
Okay.
And when we got there, as usual, had a look at what I had to do, and I was on a price to get the job done, the whole lot. And that particular job, I was acting as kind of health and safety inspector, you could say, of what's the best way to go about things, the safest way to go about things. So after having a look around, we decided to make a phone call back to the company that I was working for. There was a machine supposed to be there, and there was a delay on that, but we had plenty of other stuff to be done while we were waiting. Maybe the day after that was going to happen. So
was there anybody else on the site there with you, or was there other contractors on the site as well?
No, just ourselves.
Yourselves, okay.
Start to finish.
The 2 of you,
yeah. Had met the farmer, but that was irrelevant. We spoke to him. I'd spoken to him before, and we went through what we were going to do with him. He knew exactly what was happening.
He was around the farm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started into it and got going, and I went up on the roof, and I was using ladder at the time.
Okay.
And started removing some of the old corrugated sheets that was on the roof, cutting and unscrewing the nails and things. And I can remember seeing an interior wall that was fairly near the roof we were taking off, and I stood down onto it for kind of a breather to have a look around and see how progress is going. And I can't explain it at the time, but I'd say with my mindset, I was so busy and so busy in my mind that I wasn't fully thinking what I was doing, but for some reason I stumbled and fell.
Okay.
About 8 or 9 feet, but didn't feel any pain at the time, just landed on the ground, thought I could get up, but for some reason my legs and lower body were welded to the ground. I knew there was something wrong. I knew there was maybe a bone broke or something like that, but at the time I wasn't sure that I was actually paralysed from the waist down, but that was the furthest thing from my mind at that stage.
Yes, yeah, the seriousness of the injury.
Yeah. The farmer that owned the farm, no one saw me actually falling, but he came around and he saw me on the ground, and my employee was there, and they rang for the ambulance and the emergency services.
Do you know where you were on the ground for a while before they came to you, or?
I'd say I was lying there kind of in shock, I'd say at this stage, about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour before someone saw me.
Before they came to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can remember a doctor coming, and shortly afterwards an ambulance arrived. And I thinking back on it now, everything was kind of in slow motion at that stage. I can remember the ambulance crew stretched me into the back of the ambulance.
Okay.
That took time. How long, I'm not sure, but it took time. And I was taken to CUH in Cork, which was about 25 miles from the site, by ambulance. And I was in a room in there in the ICU. And I remember the doctors coming in and coming out and asking me could I move my toes and could I move my legs. In my head I was moving my toes, but I actually wasn't moving them.
Okay, you thought you were moving them. And at some time through that stage from leaving the site in the ambulance, I'm sure Mary got that phone call at home, and how did that message get to Mary that you had fallen?
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure myself what was happening, but
yeah.
The doctors told me that I'd probably have to be shifted to the MPRII in Dublin for emergency surgery in my back. From the scans, they could see I had 2 broken vertebrae in my lower back.
Okay.
So then I started to mention, well, my wife would need to know, and they said they'd look after all that.
Okay.
So that night I was taken by ambulance to the MPRII in Dublin here. And at 5 o'clock in the morning I was due to have emergency surgery in my back. And there was a doctor on call that night. I was in the MPRII, and I remember asking him what he thought, or what did he think the outcome was going to be. And all I remember him saying was that there was a lot of circumstances, but the main one was to try and get me back walking again.
Okay.
And the following morning that surgery took place. It was about 5 hours in all. And I remember waking up, the first face I saw was my wife and my 2 sisters. They came up to Dublin to be there. And it was then it was hitting me that I couldn't move. I still couldn't move. And
you hadn't seen them since before?
Prior to that.
Prior to that,
no.
Yeah, until you woke up. Okay.
This is the following day after the accident.
Okay.
Then I was kind of told that there was pressure on my spine from the broken vertebrae, which was interfering with my lower body movements.
Okay.
And it needed time to assess what really was wrong. But as the days passed, there was nothing happening.
There was no improvement.
And about 3 days afterwards, I remember physiotherapy people coming in. 2 ladies came in there. They're tasked with the job of getting me out of the bed landing me into a wheelchair for the first time. And then I kind of knew that it wasn't good, like.
Okay, okay.
And I remember, I suppose a week afterwards, my wife came to the hospital to see me, and she brought my 3 sons with her. And the hospital laid on a room for us to meet, and I was in there in the wheelchair, and when they came in, that was the first time they saw me sitting in a wheelchair. And
what kind of ages were the boys at that stage?
At that stage, they were 14, the twins were 14 and Joe was 15.
Okay.
So they were
teenagers, yeah.
Just early teenagers.
Yeah.
So that was hard for them to see. It was hard for Mary to have to do that with them.
Yes.
But in my own mind, I was mentally broken at that stage, and time to think and
devastated.
Yeah. But
and you were self-employed, Robert?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, so that had brought its own challenges as well.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah.
I was farming as well. So time was very limited. Even family time was hard to get at times, but we fitted it in somewhere along the line.
Yeah, yeah.
But and I was the breadwinner.
Okay, yeah.
And that was all had stopped that day. So there was problems on the horizon in front of me. I could flashing into my head and flashing out of my head, and anxiety was building. And
yes, the financial worries were beginning to worry as well.
At that stage, then I was going to sleep paralysed, and I was waking up paralysed. So the days kind of turned into weeks. And about 2 months afterwards, I slowly but surely I got a call long-awaited call from NRH that there was a bed waiting for me there.
Okay.
So I was shifted to NRH and I embarked on a 4-month rehabilitation program to try and get back on my feet, at least get as near to that as we could.
That was probably very difficult as well, starting out there and trying to get through that.
Very daunting, didn't know what I was to face. And I knew I was going to be at least 3 or 4 months there, and I was 2 months in hospital already, so...
Missing home, missing the cattle, yeah.
Everything was up in a heap.
Yeah.
As I said already, I went out to work the morning of the accident. I was supposed to come home that evening, but it was going to take 6 months to get home at this stage, and I was going to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah. So then the process, I suppose, of navigating the wheelchair, of getting used to doing your normal things, can you tell us a little bit about how you adapted to that?
Well, first I have to say that I can't thank the NRH and the staff there for the help that they gave to me and all the other patients that are, and I mean there is a lot of patients out there to help us all get going. It wasn't just me. I mean, I was in the company of other wheelchair users and people with acquired brain injuries that were all around out there from accidents.
Yes.
And a lot of them from falls from heights, me being one of them.
Yeah. And
it was tough. I have to admit the first few weeks were tough, hell on earth really, because they encourage you from the word go to get up and get out.
Okay.
And get on with it. And it was kind of a regime. Every day you had a timetable of gym and conversations with mental psychiatrists and
some support systems in place.
Support systems, and that was every day for months and months.
Yeah.
And I must say they did help to get me back to some kind of normality.
Yeah.
But not out of the wheelchair.
Yeah. Just that you'll be able to live independently then, and to get home to your own house. Yeah. Then you'd have the challenges when you do get home, because your house would have to be adapted, and
we got a chance to adapt it while I was in hospital, but there was a time scale in it had to be done before I got home. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to go home. Some people can't get home until all that individual is cleared up, fixed.
Okay. Yes, till the house is ready.
Yeah.
And what month was it that you had your accident?
It was in the 16th of September 2014.
Okay, so you spent Christmas in the National Rehabilitation Hospital?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was hard.
Back in January, February, and it was early March, I think, when I got to go home.
It was spring.
Mid-March.
Spring by the time you got back home. Yeah.
That was tough now, because at that stage you'd be institutionalised into the hospital setting, and
yes.
I had made friends, and
yeah, it was like a new world for you. Yeah.
I knew the day was coming I'd have to go home and face life at home and in the locality and neighbours and meeting the people, and at that stage I was confined to a wheelchair, and you could say I'm looking forward to the rest of my life in a wheelchair, because getting back walking wasn't looking good.
Okay.
And obviously at this stage it's still the same way.
Yeah.
At this stage I have to thank my wife. She was stood beside me through thick and thin, and my sons. We've had loads of ups and downs, more downs than ups.
Okay.
To get where we are today, but
you need that support network around you, and the good family network. Yeah.
Now you no matter how long it is, you'll never get used to being in a wheelchair, because you look at it at night when you get into the bed. You have to transfer into bed. It's the wheelchair you see going to sleep, and when you wake in the morning, it's the wheelchair is the first thing you see. You can't get out of bed unless you get into that. So you have to take it on.
It's part of you now. It's your
part of me now. Yeah, take it on the chin and get on with it.
Yeah, you've adapted to the change of it. Yeah.
But I have to admit, I have to mention that you'll never get used to a wheelchair. It's just part of life. You'll never get fully used to it. You have to have it, and just because you're a wheelchair user doesn't mean you have other injuries, internal injuries as well.
Okay, so that's just one part of it.
Yeah, it's just one part.
Yeah.
Massive impact on my life.
So you probably have other medical appointments apart from the mobility issues.
They're constant.
Okay.
Blood pressure problems, and your heart rate is not as good as it was, because you're not as active as you were. All that has to be taken into account at all. You have to be careful, and bed sores are a thing as well.
All secondary things,
yeah. There's a long list.
Okay.
But it happened to me from an accident. Some people probably in wheelchairs all their lives. They nearly know a lot more about it than what I do. But I have no choice, so I need to get on with it now.
Yeah. And then I suppose the traumatic challenge, I suppose, did you suffer from nightmares or kind of, were you, the emotional trauma from the accident?
I can't say I suffer from nightmares, but in the cold hard light of everyday life and in living in real reality, it's just you find it so hard that you would get uncontrollable waves of anxiety and crying, bouts of crying.
Okay.
It would just come on you in the early days.
Yeah.
And you'd have to handle that. Now support is needed for that. And in NRH, I got mental. I mean, I knew nothing about mental health up until I went into NRH. As far as it wasn't on my radar at all. As far as I was concerned, that was something other people had to deal with in their lives. But
it landed at your doorstep.
It landed on my doorstep, and my head was all over the place. It took a long time to find some line to settle on.
Okay.
But they were very good to me there and got me through it, and I worked with them as best I could.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to do that as well. You have to be
reach out and get the help where there is help. Yeah. If
it's there, take it.
Yeah.
And I was glad to have it, and still take it when I need it. If I need to talk to someone, I go and I speak to someone.
Good.
Because there's no point in saying that I do think back to what I had before my accident, and then you think back to where I am, or you can see where I am today. It's just so different, and it's hard to handle.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Yeah.
It's a challenge nearly every day.
Okay. Yeah, it's something that you're living with every day now.
Yeah.
And then even in your town, say you're in Tipperary, just navigating in and out of town and navigating the shops, and is there challenges in your normal in and out of town?
Well, at this stage in the local town, I know the places I can go where there's no steps, or that I can get in and out, or I know the shops that I can get into and the shops that I can't go into. So just that comes to you in time, but you still meet lots of places where you can't get in. You have to check ahead.
Okay.
You'd have to phone up if you're going to a restaurant. You'd have to check that there's no steps in, or is there a lift in up or down to where the actual restaurant is. You have to check all that before you go.
Yeah.
There's no point in turning up and getting disappointed, which happens to a lot of people. I usually check.
Yeah, to call in advance.
Yeah, to call in advance.
And then from the safety side of things, you had been in on kind of manufacturing sites before, you said, where they would have done inductions and things like that around safety, and you had some sort of exposure. But then in the construction work, would you have been familiar with things like safety statements or risk assessments, or what was your knowledge of those prior to your accident?
Vague enough.
Okay.
If I was involved in some industrial work, at least on those sites I had my safe pass, and you go in and you'll be inducted into the site. You're told about the risks on the site, what you can or what you can't do.
Okay.
That's fine, but then maybe a week afterwards or a fortnight afterwards you might have to do agricultural work, and there might be no health and safety officer on site. The onus is on you to take the job on and get it done in as safe a manner as you can. Now, I'm not a trained health and safety officer,
okay,
so I couldn't have been 100% at that end of the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of the work on farm buildings involves the use of ladders, and they are deadly.
Well, yeah, that's an important message, I suppose. Working from ladders is dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, lethal.
Yeah. If you fall, yeah.
You get so used to using them, you just put it up and you climb up and you get your job done. You come back down, you put it back where you got it, but somewhere along the line that can slip, or on a wet evening, or bad ground, it could move, and you could take the chance to get a job done off it.
But as you say, it's taking the chance.
It's the chance is there, and when you're working for yourself, you're inclined to cut corners at times to get things done and move on to the next part of the job, or get a job finished.
Yeah, you're rushing more.
You're rushing. Yeah. It's all rush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the ladders have adapted and changed throughout the years now, where you have the ladders now with the podium ladder around with the edge protection, and things have advanced.
Now, since my accident, health and safety has improved on farm buildings and all that. There's a lot more care and thought put into it. which is 10 years further on, which is a good thing.
It is. Although I think we still have more improvements to go in the industry, and I suppose that we talked about the farm safety, but construction sites, I think there has been improvements, but definitely there is a message to get out there to the industry that falls are preventable, and to make sure that you have the right equipment, the right access platforms, the right environment, training, that they are in place to help prevent.
You only have to look at this year. There's a lot of people killed and injured this year already, in spite of all the health and safety. There has been. And we spoke earlier about it's not just fatal accidents. I suppose the fatal accidents make the news, or they make the media, but a lot of people fall at height and have serious consequences for their lives forevermore due to a fall at work. And nobody hears about those. Nobody hears about those. That's why it's so important today to hear your story and to hear it from the heart, I suppose, the real life implications for you and your family. So it's invaluable, I think, to all the workers out there, the subcontractors, whether you're a subcontractor, a main contractor, whether you're a safety officer, a manager in a site. I think you have a message to everybody how important it is to take safety seriously. And that the falls could be prevented. Yeah, well, I'd just like to say, the day I fell, I was taken from the site in an ambulance. The job I was doing that day, that just didn't stop. Another man came in and finished the job that I was doing that day, filled my boots and took over and finished that job, and he moved on to another job. Yeah. As harsh as that seems, that's life. Life goes on. That job will get done with or without you. Yeah. So it's the onus is on you to look after yourself. To prioritise your own health. Because, someone will fill your boots and you're gone, and you will be managed without. It happened to me. Yeah. So it's worth taking that step back and think, okay, what can I do here to the safe way out. Safe. Yeah. And it pays well in the long run. It does. As I said, as harsh as it sounds, life carries on after your accident. And I remember before my accident, I was known as Robert Bradshaw, the steel erector from Tallon, County Tipperary, and now I'm known as your man in the wheelchair. He had an accident years ago, and he had a fall from a height, and that's why he's in a wheelchair. Okay. So that just tells you how quick life goes on. What you did before is all forgotten and gone. You remember it, but nobody else does. Yeah. Life carries on without you. Yeah. So well, you have an important message now, though, and don't underestimate the power of your message to people in the industry and in the sector, in the construction sector. So it is powerful, and I'm really grateful to have you in here today to help prevent falls from height and to educate people in the sector. So thank you so much, Robert. Thank you very much, Joan. Thank you very much.